Welcome! Welcome to Management Consulting, making money by telling people what they already know. The only thing is, you tell them in fancy language. Also known as Darth Vader management money, tricking people into taking your clothes off. Yes. I'm probably going to say, first, before I actually get into management consulting, I'm just going to explain the basics of different forms of companies, because the only way you can do management consulting is if you actually explain what's in the company and solve their problems. So I'm just going to have the basic, most accurate picture I found of companies. Was my favorite quote. No explanation needed. Now, the first thing about companies you understand is that they are about making a product, or about making profit, or doing whatever their goal is. Like NGOs would also count as companies because their goal is what their mission statement is, or what they're going to help. So, when you're thinking about a company, do not think about it as a group of people doing stuff. Think of it as a rabid kind of organism trying to do its main purpose in life, whether it be making money, or making products, or helping people. Now, the first thing about the company is that you have to make a good impression, and you've got to make sure you don't look like a hobo, or you're going to be fired. And also within the company, you need to make sure you get hired, that you're energetic, happy, and a good person to work with. Now, the first thing in that is that you have to look at the management structure versus the management design. What's the difference? Well, structure is the actual division of labor. Who actually does what? You know, what, like the smaller parts of actually how the company runs. Now, what's organizational design? It's the division of labor. They're pretty much almost exactly the same thing. The only difference is with structure, it's who actually does the work, and the design, who in theory should do the work. It's design is the broader picture of the different areas and different parts of the company, while structure is like, hey, you did good work. Want to put my name on it? But once you get to that point, in the subsections, the way the company functions is in the differentiation. Not differentiation. I know this is what everyone knows, but it is not. It's actually different subtasks. So within the groups, you have smaller groups. And within those groups, you have even smaller groups. It's complicated, but it's how most companies function. So within these little groups, everyone gets their tasks, their division of labor. Now, some people's tasks are called tasks. And tasks are actually things you do. Then there's tasks cognitive, which is people who think about what you should do. So basically, manager and people who work under them and actually do stuff they need to do. Now, you've got to have both of these to make the company work, in theory. You need a integration of both of these people who think about what to do and people that actually do it, so that when you look at the company, there's actually innovation from the cognitive, and then the people that do things for the task. If you don't have both of these with at least a little bit of integration, the company's going to fall apart. Just because there's going to be nothing new, there's going to be nothing produced, but your organism of a company fails. Now, how do you keep all these things in control within groups and groups and groups? You need a line of authority. You need someone at the top who says, we need to get this done, or I'm going to fire you. And then things get done. Because if you don't have someone holding a fire up against your butt, what are these people will tell the people under them to do work, and these people will tell people under them to do more work. But the thing is, once it gets down to that point, people won't have the skill set to do what you need. So you need someone in authority to actually tell a specific person what to do so you can actually get stuff done. The only problem with this is span of control. This is seen a lot in international businesses, because if a minor manager tells someone under them, an even more minor manager, what to do, sometimes they'll take it up to the top and be like, I'm not supposed to do this, that's their job. Lots the conflicts come from just mismanagement. So you need to make sure your span of control is really tight and the line of authority is very, very well known. But this gets really complicated. This is a problem that most management consultants have. Mismanagement, which is why it's management consulting. Within your span of control, you need to take in so many different things to account for. But honestly, if you're in a company, you don't have time to look at it. You've got the ability of your managers to manage, which is surprisingly normally the big problem. Because you don't hire competent people, or you hire people who think competent aren't competent. But problems, which leads to employee empowerment of those below them, thus revolutions, coups, all the fun things. Technology, ability of employees only comes into account when span of control is completely out of whack, normally in international corporations. Job similarity and job complexity are really well next to each other. If you have a similar job to someone else, you think of them with the same amount of empowerment. But if you have a really complex job, your degree of empowerment, what you think you do, is much better than another person, plus you think you can order events. Therefore, span of control falls apart. Then the setting of where you actually are and the amount of coordination your company has is all dependent on your managers, which if you don't have the ability to manage. Therefore, this is the problem most people have when you're looking at management consulting, actually dealing with who controls what, who does what, and how to kick them in the butt to make sure they actually do their job. Now the thing is, this is easy if you understand it. The only thing is it's very time consuming within a corporation to actually get it done. To actually go through with people, ask them questions, organize it, do a survey to figure out what's wrong and how do we fix it. Thus, like most companies, work on certain structures to make this easier. Up here we have the tall structure, where the span of control is much more spread out, but there's less of them. In doing so, it means that more people can be monitored, so any problems can be caught early, but it also means the span of control could be much more complicated and harder to fix later on. With a flat structure of an organization, it means the span of control is very direct. You know exactly who your boss is, these people do not mess with. Pretty much they can buy your butt. The only problem with this is it leads to a lot of empowerment to the people at the bottom. Because there's so many people working the same job, if there's any differences in the job, it means they get empowered, but think they can control the other little minions that they can't. And that leads to more problems. So this one, the problem is in the length. This one, the problem is with the bottom layer. So it depends on how far you want to reach your corporation. And then if you want to get into even more detail, you have to look at the structures. I'm just going to quickly run over these, because I know it's not very interesting, but it's quite cool. Within a functional structure, you'll make sure, can you actually read that?
Yeah.
Okay.
I can, but I'm not sure the people that can.
Do you want to move forward?
Where am I going? I can't see
And if you could, zoom in.
I
just think that'll help. Just go
it's
through.
forward.
It's fine.
Don't worry about it.
Yeah.
Okay. With functional structure, it's basically a production function, but the thing is they focus on not getting the stuff out, but making sure that you do your goals. Lots of NGOs are set this way, so there's many vice presidents, so it's a short structure, but at the same time, it is different regions, so there'll be marketing, sales, plus everything's spread, but in a very contained world, so it's easy to function if you're doing international things. Product structure, basically, you get a product, you sell it, good, or that's the main goal. So these people normally don't have many problems, just because they keep their operations so simple. With division structure, these are the people that are normally in hospitals or have a lot of different things to do within the company. This is one of the more complicated ones because there's very little communication, which normally leads to a lot of mismanagement. Because within hospitals, say, one department doesn't talk to another department, then things could go horribly wrong. So this is a structure. Normally, hospitals have a lot of management consultants on the side. Just in case any problems do come up, they can quickly put them out. So this one, division structure is recommended for those with lots to do, but they there are consequences. Customer structure, easily explained. You have lots of people working at the bottom of the customers, you have a few people at the top. Span control, easy, not many problems. And then regional, very self-explanatory. Normally, it's just one CEO and one or two places within the region. It's not really a company per se, as it has lots of branches. It's more a workplace environment to get work done. These are actually the structures of most management consultants. And yes, management consultants do hire other management consultants. Plus making money, telling people what they already know. Moving on. And then this one, which causes much pain, is the matrix structure.
Much pain.
Also known as a hybrid structure. Basically, you try and get all the benefits from the other ones and put them into one lot together. The problem is, it's not normally done correctly. So even though you put all the benefits in one corporation, in this, you also will have many of the bad, especially the size and the complexity, makes communication and dealing with other people within the own company really difficult. Next, please. Hybrids are normally simple, but my favorite is this one I made myself because I'm tired. This one is basically division, teams, and it has each person or each team doing its own subsection, but it all has a different main purpose. So it's like little companies within each company area group. There would be one person in charge which would communicate with the other subsections, therefore eliminating most of the communication problems while allowing for a larger structure. Still problems, but it's getting there. Next. Now here's the good part. This is where management consulting comes in. You saw all those structures, and they all make logical sense. The only problem is each have their faults. So what do you do when you have faults? What do you do when you have things that are more expensive to yourself than other people? You outsource. When you outsource, it means that you hire someone not from your people to do a job for your people. Normally this is done with IT or things that need really specific labor. But management consulting is a different industry which does not take too much specialization. Common sense and BS is very appreciated. Moving on. Please. Oh wait. So now we know about companies. The problem is how we get their money. Please move on. Now, the thing is, what is management consulting? Management consulting is pretty much convincing people you know everything they know, but better. So you've got to make sure you leave the right first impression. So, you want to make sure you look perfect, and you want to make sure they think you are perfect. Moving on, please. So some of the main goals, well, the definition. An advisory service contracted for and provided to organizations by specially trained and qualified persons to assist in an objective and independent manner the client organization to identify management problems, analyze such problems, and help when requested in the implementation of solutions. Basically, we find out what's wrong with you and we fix you. Which is a proper thing. That's what normally consultants do. Now, management consultants need to convince their clients they are perfect. They need to convince their clients they have a problem. They need to convince their clients we can solve your problem.
This sounds like beauty products.
Yes, it is. Well, it's beauty products for organizations. And then you need to convince them to pay you so that you can actually get your work done. And that is the main core and definition of a management agency. Sometimes it does help when you have management problems, but most of the time, there's magical problems that appear. Not our fault, by the way. Moving on, please. Now, normally, this goes into people who aren't very good at communication. This is surprisingly a large amount of communication issues come between managers and university graduates. Why? Because there is a certain pride university graduates get, thinking that they are better than most other people who haven't graduated from university, even if they've been working this job for 10 years. Thus, there's difficulty Operation management consulting, if you've got a project, you don't know how to do it, we fix it for you, we do your project, you pay. Strategy consulting, basically how to make your company better in the future from things you can do today, which is basically saying things like talk to your managers, but saying it in a way such as the communication within the group seems to have problematic systems which can be solved if you have the regulations put into place at an earlier date.
So talk to them before it becomes a big, massive fire and burns shit to the ground.
Convince them that it's going to have a massive fire and burn to the ground. Yes, I'm being cynical, but it's true. Next, please. Now, such as this case. The thing is, most people are scared of their bosses. Most people don't want to admit problems. Thus, the problems get bigger and bigger and bigger. Management consultants actually help, since they will talk to the people and say, what is wrong? We will anonymously tell your boss what is wrong, and then we can fix it. Moving next thing. Now, first things first. Please go next. First impressions, perceptions. That's how you get it started. So I want to look at one of the greatest first impressions of all time. The best management consultant you can ever see. Darth Vader. Please, next one. Now, the resistance to management change is the problem in this case. And one person has got over the Darth Vader most famous scene and redubbed it with a management consultant real-life answer. If you would excuse me. I will just show you, at this moment, the beginning of this and how to make the best first impression of all time as shown by a lovely person. One sec, I need to just make this a bit small.
You can just hit the full screen button on the full screen on that one.
Okay, cool. You may need to...
We don't
I mean,
do
it.
No. I meant like the full screen button was the thing coming on the screen.
Yes.
Why won't it work?
Okay, you know what? I'm not going to full
Just
screen it.
do it the other way, yeah.
Yeah.
MacBook.
Wait, we skipped a bit. Damn it. This is how true consultant management agency works.
So first, introduce myself. So my name is Jin. Okay, let's move on.
I'm assuming it has to be with a cape.
I will show you the rest of that later. It's not relevant to this point in time. But it will be very, very soon. Now, you've had the best first impression. So how do you get the job? Yay! Darth Vader isn't the only one magical at doing things like this. Aha. Stand it. Move. Sorry, lots of editing will be done later.
Can something like kissing a really pretty girl special one time?
Okay, can anybody hear this?
No, but I'm sitting right next to it.
I can hear it.
You can hear it. Well, people in the back, you may actually need to move forward.
Move up and everyone shut up.
Yeah. Because this is actually the main point of my speech, but done in a funny-ish way. But I think you'd rather prefer listening to them to me talking.
We need them to think they're almost perfect. People said after work. After work. After work really is the goal of all consultants. Get them onto this, thinking that their business is going to fail without it.
And the goal of every company consultant agency?
Higher engagement at 100%. Availability. Billability. The metric by which consultants tangibly prove their worth to the company. Measured in percentages, it's the amount of time that you bill a client. High billability means you're not wasting time. Billing 100% of your time is nothing. Because this is an emergency situation, the fee is double. And that is the stuff of legend.
That's the basics
Wow.
of management consulting.
What is that show?
House of Lies. Well, I'm sorry if I'm insulting you, but this
No, not at all.
Once you realize you get more money by training people to be management consultants.
now, that's the beginning, that's the bullshitting of the job. Now you need to actually get to the real job. The real job of a management consultant is getting ready for that company to change and helping them change for the better. What happened?
Change.
Change.
Roll the back up.
If you're perfect, then whatever you're suggesting must be perfect. The problem with management consulting is actually getting the management and the employees to change. This is one of the hardest things to do within a company, because once people are set in their ways, they do not want to change. This is called management or change resistance. Change resistance is normally caused by people either being so set in their ways, liking their ways, or not knowing that the new way is better. The cause of problems that cause management resistance is at first lack of people skills. If you tell someone, do this, you're changing what you've been doing for 10 years is wrong, I don't think they're going to change. So even if you can very nicely, politely tell them all the facts, all the figures, it is very unlikely they will change. You must convince a majority, and then maybe a few other will come. But that will take time. Another thing is, people already say what they're doing is the right way. They're already so busy, look at how much work they get done. We couldn't get any more done with the way you're suggesting. Your way, you don't know what you're doing. So they deny the change is anything good. And of course, another main reason for management resistance is that bosses, scary bosses, don't have management skills. They can't effectively communicate, or they communicate it very poorly. It's not people skills. They don't really know how to actually understand what they're doing for the change. So their management lack of understanding, bad person, people skills, and resistance to people who just like their ways. That is some of the biggest problems. But how do you convince someone's mind? You can't really, unless they agree to it. And the result of trying to force change is normally anger. Social loathing, as you see over there. As you can see, he decided to spend the day making a macaroni and glitter presentation. That shows how much work he did that day once he started making a macaroni and glitter presentation. Another thing is cyberloafing. As you can see here, I prefer the term time management to clock watching. Basically, people sit at their desks and do nothing in not revenge, but in resistance to what people are changing. So, how do you fix this? Mainly time. Time and extra management help, probably not this much, because a manager trust is not very effective. Maybe fun though, not very effective. But if you get these extra people help, you explain them, you tell them, you actually treat them like a human being, which management consultants can do. They can communicate with people effectively. That's their main job. They can help it push along. Also get the bosses to give incentives, such as saying, we need to increase profits and change it to, hey kids, try and beat your high score. For profits this month. Which is actually effective. It's been taken up by quite a few companies to make it a game to make profits. Suggestion of management consultants. Those companies have normally seen an increase of their profits and efficiency. But the main thing you need is understanding. Understanding where your company is going. Understanding what's happening.
Here we go.
Understanding that the new culture you're going to may not easily accept your changes. But you have to be accepting of cultures and accepting the people working for you. Now, management consulting is normally called in too, not just for problems, but for when people are trying to expand. So you've got to accept the changes, accept what you're doing, and making it so that every person understands. Don't make it just management, don't make it just employees. Everyone has to be on the same page. That is what management consultants try to do. So let's see how a pro handles these situations.
Darth Vader. He's really good at incentivizing.
So, this is how Darth Vader tries to explain what he's doing and how to help people. Only I could get him to stay still. This is 10 minutes. I can cut it to this.
Transmission plans are not aboard this ship. No transmissions were made. Escape pod was jettisoned during the flight. No lifeboats were aboard.
I hear it is something about today. You see a bird flying over, and if you catch it, that's yours. But then you say, hold on, the bird is only half kilo today. How about I wait for a year? Wait for the bird growing up to 1 kilo, then I catch the bird. But the problem is, when that bird is gone forever. So that's bird in the
Better to catch more rebels than less.
And another thing actually troubles me.
The not right way to manage.
Do they really understand? No. Because they put off majority of rubbish here. Right? So what we are going to do is, even you answer the question correctly, but you put up a whole lot of rubbish here, will be nothing. Don't try to frighten us with your sewer swears.
Anger is not normally a good option, but it's effective.
In the future, if you talk, I leave. Enough of this. Repeat. Keep that in mind.
How to make sure that your interns and young people work.
So what I'm going to do is, after the first hour, I will give you 10-minute break. And then we continue. Okay, now,
Very effective management style.
so I asked her a question. Say, do you know much about the corporation? And
Yet
she
another
replied, no, I don't know much. Yes. Scoutships have reached out to me. They found the remains of a rebel base, but they estimate that it has been deserted for some time. They are now conducting an extensive search of the surrounding system. Then I say, for a listed company, if you purchase the share in the company, then do you view yourself
has good social status. Change to management is normally likened to a battle. Life changes are optional.
No, they're not.
Nothing differently.
Again.
How to make small consistent by showing what happens when you accept the change.
Right.
By causing other people in the company to feel
Their way. I sold the managed daily operation. You're sure the homing beacon is secure aboard this ship?
tell the truth is normally a good strategy.
There are a whole lot of stories talking about you.
You
Every
must
time
convince
I
them
read
you're
the
perfect.
story, I laugh. Most of them, majority of them, 99% of them, are those stories I never heard of. So I basically said I know myself very well where those stories coming from. Alright? I know myself better. You guys don't know me, and few of them may talk story. So that information is secret. Okay?
When you don't get paid for things you've done.
Okay. Our ships have sighted the Millennium Pocket Road, but we connected an asteroid field and we cannot reach it. On my visa.
You didn't get paid.
Okay.
needed those results by 3 p.m.
It is quite easy to think.
And that's why Darth Vader is a very good example at management consulting. So that's how Pro handles most situations. So you've set up your business, you've helped your customers with projects, you've got everything done. Now the most important part, money. So, with money, the main thing is how you get your money. But how you're going to get your money from the company changes each time. You can have the simple daily rate, which is what most people try for, except it's not very normal for consulting companies. Because you need to prove yourself, so only the really huge companies in consult management can get those. But if you're simply a retainer, which means it's just someone, that comes in every now and then to check on the things, you get paid low amounts, and you get only certain parts of your total fee paid. With fixed pricing, that's what you want. You want to always be paid a certain amount. But what most happens, which is a very interesting way of pricing, is that you get a percentage of the profits of the project you help. Which means in consulting management agencies, the bigger the project you help with, the bigger payout. So the thing is, you need to build up that reputation, and then you can get, if a company, say, has a project worth $10 million, and your company gets 5%, that's a pretty good payday. So, with the money of it, you've told them what they already know, how to organize their company, basic things, done some work for them. You've done all the jobs, you got all the money. Now what? You've got all this wonderful jobs. So what you do is you wait till the next day, wait till the next job, and have a lovely evening until getting to the next job. And that is Management Consulting 101. The way of perfecting management consulting with Darth Vader, money, changing clothes, and changing ideas. Thanks.
How many legs did you have on at the beginning?
Yeah. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Do I count my underwear? Because then it's 7. How did you start boiling hot? I lived in Abu Dhabi for 8 years.
Yeah, then.
Yeah.
It's